So I just wanted to discuss briefly some parting words about cancer and make sure you understood this idea, the three ways to treat cancer, the slash, burn, and poison, right? So slashing is taking it out. Burning is radiation, where we're trying to target certain cells so that we can create mutations so that those cells will die, that they will program themselves to die. Or chemotherapy, this is the poison, right? We're trying to poison cells. But the problem is that these cancer cells look just like our cells. And so when you're trying to poison cancer cells, you're poisoning your own cells as well. So it's really just a race to see how fast can we kill the cancer cell and how fast is it killing you. And sometimes you die before the cancer dies, and then we've lost the battle. But the drugs that you looked up, they were all chemotherapy drugs. And you could see from your search, hopefully, that chemotherapy drugs are mostly drugs that attack the cell cycle in some way, either the machinery that's involved or the checkpoints that are involved, but it's trying to destroy cells that are in the cell cycle. Why? Because cancer cells, that's one of the things that it's a hallmark of cancer, is they go through the cell cycle more often than other cells. But there are some cells in our bodies, like our skin and our hair follicles and our intestinal tract and our bone marrow, our immune system, that are going through mitosis all the time, and so they also get attacked. That's why people on chemotherapy are constantly vomiting, and they're losing their hair, and their skin gets all yucky, and their immune system is compromised, because those are all things that are also actively dividing cells. So it's not a great solution, but the other two solutions are often impossible, and so it's kind of our only option at this point. So the question then becomes, how do I prevent myself from getting cancer? Well, the answer to that is you can't totally prevent it, right? With age, if you live long enough, everybody's going to get cancer somehow, just in the way that our bodies are and the flaws that we have and the mutations that happen spontaneously. You're likely to get cancer at some point in your life. But a lot of us don't live long enough to experience that. But those of us who do, it's an unfortunate thing. But there are things that you can do in your life that will accelerate the process of getting cancer, and that all has to do with how many mutations you receive. So what stupid things do you do that mutate your DNA? Like sunbathing, where you're laying out in the sun and inviting the sun to mutate your DNA, or consuming carcinogens, right? So like the blackened toast, for instance, that's a carcinogen. Or there's been a lot of things like the lining of a microwave popcorn bag that's been suspected to be carcinogenic. Vitamin A in sunscreen actually transforms into a carcinogenic chemical. Radon is one that most people haven't heard of. It's a gas that comes up through the soil. It's naturally occurring, and it's the #2 cause of lung cancer. And it's the #1 amongst non-smokers, right? And so it just comes up through your basement. And there are kits you can buy at Harbor Freight, for example, that will test for radon, and then there's an abatement that you can do to get rid of the radon gas. But if you are down in like in a basement apartment, you should get that checked out, because if we look at the statistics, lung cancer is by far your biggest threat. So what does that tell us? We're likely exposed to the most carcinogens in the air that we breathe. Our lungs are just constantly bombarded by garbage. And so if you could protect anything about your body, protect your lungs, right? So don't go spray paint a bicycle in a closed garage, right? Don't expose yourself to more carcinogens than you're already being exposed to in your lungs. Protect your lungs. Do things in an open area. Wear a mask. Do things to protect your lungs, because that's your biggest spot for potentially getting cancer, and it's the most life-threatening. So those are my words of wisdom.